Hi, I'm Nicole Scott with PNetTV.com down here at Piero's at CES. I'm joined by Michael Shiloh from Openmoko, I am right. So you're open source, and why don't you tell me a little bit about what you do with mobile?
Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. So Openmoko is the name of both our company and a project. And the word Openmoko comes from open mobile computing. And the point of the project was to come up with a completely open source Linux distribution that could be used for cell phones, PDAs, or any other kind of mobile computing device. So we didn't want to, we wanted the name to imply that it could be used at devices other than cell phones. Although the first product of ours and the first device that it ran on was in fact a cell phone.
Very interesting. Now, in the mobile community, the walled garden is down, everyone's open source, everyone's allowed it, and the carriers are really embracing the fact that everyone should be able to develop for mobile. Now, what inspired you to have such a truly open community that doesn't even require development partnerships to get on board?
Well, our premise was that we wanted to be making the product of the future, and we don't know what they look like yet. And we felt that one of the problems is that if a closed company tries to think internally about what to make for the future, they'll be limited in terms of what hardware they're familiar with, what software they know how to make, and what kind of things they can think of a little bit beyond that. We felt that the open source community is an especially creative, innovative, and imaginative group of people, and is much larger than anything a company can come up with, and that they could come up with many more ideas. So the idea was by coming out with a piece of hardware that was pretty generous, but more importantly coming out with a software system that was completely open source, and basically tossing it out there to the open source community, that imaginative people there would be able to, first of all, write applications that we can't even think of right now, but more importantly, they'd be able to come back to us and say, here's a brilliant idea I have for an application, I would love to write it, but I can't run it on your phone because you're missing such and such piece of hardware. Obviously, we wouldn't do this for everyone, but if someone suggested something and other people said, yeah, that's a great idea, if you did that, I could do this, and so on, then we would go back and look at it and say, yeah, that does sound like a good idea, and we would do that. So
right now we have a couple of prototype phones,
right.
And essentially, just to break it down for my viewers, there's different operating systems that are out there, Symbian, Windows Mobile, so essentially you've just created an open source operating system.
Yeah, well, in fact, one of those operating systems that already is out there is Linux. There are a large number of phones running Linux. Some of them are completely closed, and nobody would even know that there's Linux in them unless the company told them. Others are open to different degrees, and you can get access to some parts of it. To my knowledge, ours is the most open, that anybody can get access to the source code, anybody can add applications, anybody can write applications to it.
Now, from a hardware aspect, what are the figures on your phone? What kind of phone does it have? Wi-Fi? Does it have Wi-Fi? What are you looking at for this new phone?
Yes, from a hardware point of view, it has let's see, it has the core of a Linux computer. It has an ARM processor, memory, all the things you would expect. It has a USB port both for charging and also for being able to sync up with your computer. Interestingly, the USB port is both a device and a host, so not only can you use it as a device compared to your desktop computer, but you can also plug other things into it, like say a web camera, a USB thumb drive, terribly sorry, and any other kind of USB devices. We also have, on the radio side, it has GSM for talk on the cell phone network, Wi-Fi for Wi-Fi networks, Bluetooth, of course, and it has GPS also, so it's also location aware. Let's see, it also has a very large screen, a VGA screen, which is much larger resolution than most cell phones have, and you might think it's much more than a cell phone would ever need, but remember, we're not targeting this to be a cell phone, so we want people to be thinking of applications that might be beyond the scope of a cell phone, and we figured that by having this big screen it wouldn't limit those kind of applications.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to join me.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks very much for asking me.
This has been
Michael Shiloh.
This has been Michael Shiloh with Openmoko.